you with another interesting lecture of geography, and that is the endogenetic movement part 2. So today we are going to study the endogenetic movement, that is lesson number 2. But the lecture is divided into two parts because yesterday we have seen the half lesson, and today we are going to see the second part of this endogenetic movement. So before going through the lesson, let's see what we have done yesterday in Let's Recall section. Yesterday, we have learned about the movement occurring in the interior of the earth. In that, we have seen all the three layers of the earth interior, that is, the crust, the mantle, and the core, as well as how the movements are occurring in the interior of earth. We have learned with the help of diagram. Then we have seen the newspaper snippet, which is given in the first page of your lesson, that is lesson number 2. The newspaper snippet was of the earthquake which happened in Nepal, and we have also covered the exercise which was below it. That is, we have solved the question answers which was asked based on this newspaper snippet. Then we have done the activities to understand the slow and sudden movement. The activities 2.2a, B, and 2.3ab to understand the slow and sudden movement. How actually the slow movement takes place and how actually the sudden movement takes place. Then we have seen the slow movement and the effect on the rock. How the slow movement is created and what are the effect on the rock based on the table which is given in your textbook. We have seen the compression, the activity of compression, and the activity of tension. In that activity of compression, we have seen that how the waves are coming together. When the waves are coming together, it is called as the compression. It was explained by the activity by using the paper strip. Then we have seen the examples of the compression, that is the fold mountains and other examples, how the fold mountains are created when the layers of the rocks are coming together because of the interior movement, and that is how the rocks are getting a layer on it. So those are seen like a fold, and that is why they are called as the fold mountains. Then we have also seen the activity of tension, that is an extension. The same paper strip was used in it, and we have seen how with the help of paper strip, it was made you understood that what is the meaning of tension. When the tectonic plates are going apart from each other, what can happen? It may give rise to a block mountain. How the two faults or poles are going apart from each other and the middle part is uplifted, so that time the block mountain is created. At the same way, when the middle part between the two faults are going down or subside, which was also shown by the activity of 3 books that we have done yesterday, and how the rift valleys are created. In the rift valley, we have also seen the examples. Then how this slow movement is related with continent building. How the continents are built because of the constant slow movement. And remember students, this slow movement takes lot and lot of times, lot of years to build a continent, to build a plateau, or to make and fold mountain. But there is another movement which is called as the sudden movement. So today we are going to see the sudden movement. The sudden means which happens very quickly. So today we are going to see the sudden movement. Let's go to the slide. In the beginning of the chapter, remember students, we have discussed about the newspaper snippet, and that newspaper snippet was totally based on the earthquake which was happened in Nepal and how the Nepal was devastated because of that earthquake. Now that was related to earthquake. How this earthquake happens? This is because of the sudden movement. Now, sudden means very quick, without an warning. So it is called as an sudden movement, which comes very fast and it doesn't takes a lot of time. As you have seen in the slow movement takes lot of time for the continent building, for the mountain building. But in this sudden movement, it doesn't take a lot of time to create a particular event. So, what is this earthquake? First, we are going to see the earthquake. Earth means ground, and the quake means trembling. Trembling means shaking. Okay, the earth is a ground and the quake means trembling. So, together it's called as an earth shaking. So, earthquake. The movement of the earthquake. The earthquake is a movement of earth crust. Remember, student, the earthquake is the movement of earth crust. So, which is happened very suddenly. Now we'll see to the another slide. Now we are going to see this earthquake movement with the help of some activities or with the help of some information which is given in your textbook. Now, what are this information? If you see this, there is a column given in your textbook that is a do you know. Now, this do you know column is always having a lot of information and you have to read it to get the required information which is related to your lesson. Remember, students, always the related information is given or the extra information is given in this do you know column. Now, when you stand on the railway platform, see how it is given in this do you know column. When you stand on the railway platform near the railway track, what you feel, what you actually feel when the train is passing in front of you. Okay, you experience that the surface where you're standing is shaking, it's trembling because of the train passing, because of the velocity of the train. Velocity means the speed. Because of the speed of the train, what you can see is that the surface below you, the ground where you are standing, it is trembling, it is shaking. As well as they have given you one more example, you can see on the slide, the second example which is there, when the heavy vehicles which are there crossing on the bridge with the speed, and you're standing or you're traveling by a small vehicle. You can see here the small vehicle, a person is traveling by the small vehicle and the heavy vehicles are passing on the bridge, as well as some person is standing over there. So what is the effect of it? When the heavy vehicles are passing on the bridge, you will feel that as if the bridge is going to collapse or as if the bridge is trembling or bridge is shaking. So this is your experience. Now the same thing happen in the earthquake. You will also feel a type of a shaking, a type of a trembling. If you have not experienced still what is an earthquake, so you can relate this activity with an earthquake trembling. Now we'll go to the earthquake. Change the slide. Now, what is a earthquake? Because of the movement occurring in the interior of the earth, the tremendous tension is created on the earth crust. Now, when this tension goes beyond the limit, the energy is released in the form of waves. These waves makes the tectonic plate collide. As the result, there is a trembling on the earth's surface. Now, what is the meaning of this particular thing? In the one part of the slide, you can see the crack which is occurred because of the earthquake attack. The road has gotten fracture, it has gotten crack. In the next part of the screen, you can see the earth layer. Now, the earth layer, this is very important. We have learned in the 8th standard what are the parts which are there. crust, mantle, and core. Okay, so crust is the upper part where we are standing. It's an earth. The crust is divided into upper crust and the lower crust. Upper crust is the land area and the lower crust is the area below the ocean surface. Below that, mantle is there, and below that the core is there. A core is very very hot. It's like an sun. It's like a sun. It's hot like a sun. So the core is very very hot. Now, when there is a tremendous tension, when there is an extension, when the waves are moving, the primary waves are moving, the secondary waves are moving, the al waves are moving, that is the surface wave, they are actually coming and dashing to one particular space. Now that we are going to learn in the remaining part of the lesson, that is called as a tectonic plate. So when the tectonic plate collide, there is a feeling of a shaking or trembling. So that is called as an earthquake. Now, how much powerful is the earthquake and what is the magnitude? Now, when this earthquake happened, how will understood like what was the power of the earthquake? What is the magnitude of the earthquake for that particular thing? There is in technology, and the science had made a lot of invention in this particular thing, and this is measured by an Richard scale. Now let's see what is this Richard scale by the next particular slide. Now you can see here the Richard scale. Now this is not given in your textbook, so each level indicate 10 times the amount of shaking and 33 times the amount of energy. If you see here, the graph is given, that is the great, major, strong, moderate, small, minor, and not felt. So at that particular thing, the earthquake magnitude was not felt. If you go to the 3 to 4, that was the minor attack was felt. If you go to 5, the small attack, then moderate, medium. Then if you go to 6 to 7 level, the attack was strong, the waves was strong, the magnitude was strong. Then if you go to 7 to 8, then the magnitude was major. And 8 to 9, that will be the the center near the focus point where actually it has occurred. So there the magnitude will be great. So this is called as the Richter scale, how the magnitude of an earthquake is measured. So now we'll go to the next slide. Now, causes of earthquake. Now, there are different causes of earthquake. Now, just now I have explained to you moving of the plates. When these tectonic plates are moving, they are having the different way of moving. Sometimes they come together, sometimes they move apart. So different directions are there. Compression is there, tension is there. So different way these tectonic plates are moving. They are just 100 kilometers thick below the crust. So where are these tectonic plates? 100 kilometers below the thick, it is a thick layer. Then they are colliding of the plates. Second point is colliding of the plates. Now, when these tectonic plates are coming together and then they are colliding, then they are rubbing on each other, it is called as the colliding of the plates. Then plates sliding one below the other. And when the plates are coming and colliding, they are falling apart, they are falling apart, they are coming together, they are falling on each other, sometimes they are going apart. So that is plates sliding one below the other. Then forming of fractures. When these above three things are occurred, the next step is the fractures are formed, the cracks are formed in the rock layer due to the tension. Tension is the extension in the interior of the earth. And when there is a lot of tension, the energy is released out in the form of eruption. So the earthquake is still the fourth stage, the shaking or the trembling of the ground. That is an earthquake. Now, when it goes to the extent stage, to the more stage, more amount of energy is released, then there is an another activity cause, and that is an volcanic eruption. Now we have seen, we are talking about the plates, we are talking about these tectonic plates. Now what is this tectonic plates? We'll see. Now we'll see what are these tectonic plates. Now, previously the world was together and it was not break up into the many parts. And then because of the interior movement, the parts got separated, the oceans got separated, and the continents got separated. And because of this, these tectonic plates also got separated. Now let's see the seven tectonic plates from which the earth crust is made up of. The earth crust is made up of seven tectonic plates, which you can see here on the screen. Now, what are these tectonic plates and where they are located? Now, this tectonic plates is actually the layer I told you. It is 100 kilometers thick, 100 kilometers thick below the crust. Now, the ground below the crust is break up into the pieces called as plate tectonic. Now, we'll name the plate tectonic. How many plates are there? There are seven major tectonic plates. And apart from there are 20 minor tectonic plates. Recently, according to the recent invention, there are 100 minor tectonic plates. Now, we'll see only the major tectonic plates here in the slide. First is Indo-Australia. You can see here Indo-Australian plate. Here on the slide, you can see Indo-Australian plate. Next is the African plate. Then is the Eurasia, the part of the Europe and the Russia together. It comes in the Eurasian plate. Then the North American plate, you can see here in the slide. Then we'll go to the South American plate. South American plate is also here. The Pacific plate and the Antarctic plate. The Pacific plate and the Antarctic plate. So these are the seven major plates. Now, where actually India lies? India lies in the Indian plates, that is a minor plate, which is called as the minor plate. India plate is a minor plate. Depending on the compression and tension, these plates move in the various direction, and they are just below the crust. And that is why there is in constant fractures or cracks. And where these plates are there, where the intensity is more, there the earthquakes or volcanic eruptions are occurring. We are going to see that again in the next slides. So let's study how the earthquake starts and covers the surrounding area. We'll take a next slide. This is figure point 2.12, which is given in your textbook, figure 2.12. The focus and the epicenter, the types of the seismic waves. You can see here the focus and the epicenter. Now let's try to understand the focus and epicenter with the help of this diagram. Now you can see here on the screen, the focus is the middle part, which is given by the dot-like structure, and just the perpendicular to it, just straight, you can see here it's an epicenter. Just the straight you can see here, it is a epicenter. Now, because of the movement inside the earth, the energy is released. Where this energy is accumulated means collected. It is called as the center of the earthquake, where this energy is coming together. The primary waves are bringing the energy. All the waves are, this energy is released. And at particular spot, it is coming together. That particular spot, it's called as the center of the earthquake, where you will find the intensity is more, and it is also called as the focus or hypocenter. So this another name for this focus is hypocenter. Then this wave spread in all direction. When they are coming to the focus, then they are spreading to all the directions. These waves first reach at the place called as an epicenter. Now, when these are actually spreading, they are actually going to the place where it is very much closer to the focus. Then it is called as an epicenter. The epicenter is always perpendicular to the focus. It is the nearest place on the earth's surface from the focus, and therefore experience a strong tremor or the strong intensity of the earthquake, or the strong magnitude of the earthquake is found in the epicenter. You can see here when the tension is released at the focus, the release energy spread in all the direction in the form of waves, and these waves are called as seismic waves. They are divided into primary, secondary, and surface waves. Now, let's see this particular thing one by one. That is, what is primary waves, what are secondary waves, and what are surface wave, with the help of slide. Now, first we'll see what are primary waves or P waves. So these waves are the first one to reach on the surface of the earth. When the energy is released, this particular waves are there. They are reaching first on the earth surface. They travel very fast from the focus in the radial direction. Now, when these waves are there, they are having a lot of speed. So they travel first. They travel first, and the speed is very fast, and they travel in the radial direction. Radial direction means what? It is an circular direction. The subjected to the P waves, the particles in the rocks which are there, the small particles, they move in the direction of waves to and fro. And that is why these waves are called as an forward and backward waves, because they goes in the direction as well as they move like to and fro. To and fro means forward and backward. The particles of the rocks are moving when these waves are reaching. These particles of the rocks are moving into front and backward direction. Now, these primary waves are very powerful. They are in fact the first to reach on the surface of the earth. So they can travel in all the forms. They can travel in the liquid form, they can travel in the solid form, as well as they can travel in the gaseous form. So in all the three levels, this particular waves are traveling. So while traveling through the liquid medium, their direction is changing. So when these primary waves, when they go into the liquid medium, now you must have seen, you must have learned in the 8th standard that in mantle, in the core, there is a liquid, there is a gaseous type of a thing, there are the solid particles. So when these primary waves are passing from the liquid state, the direction of the waves are changing. The effect of this primary waves building move from to and fro, and that is why it's a shaking of the surface. Now we'll move to the next slide. Now these primary waves are also called as the P waves. Next is the secondary waves, which are also called as S waves. Now these secondary waves are the coming after primary waves. They are actually following after primary waves. Now, these waves also scattered in all the direction from focus to the earthquake. Now, we have seen in the first diagram that how all the released energy come at particular spot. It is called as the focus. Now, from that focus, these energies are scattering, are spreading in all the direction. So these primary waves are also spreading, and after this, the secondary waves are coming, and these secondary waves are also spreading. When these primary waves are going and dashing on the earth crust, it is going to give a shaking effect because they are having the direction of moving forward and backward. Then follows the secondary waves, it is having the direction of moving up and down. The velocity of these particular waves are lesser than the p wave. The speed is not as fast as the primary waves. The particle lying in the way of these waves moves up and down in the direction of energy transferred. Now, these particular waves which are there, they can travel only through the solid. Now, this particular give reasons always come in the paper why the secondary waves are traveling in the solid. Now, what is the reason behind it? Now, these waves can travel only to the solid medium. Why? Because they get absorbed as they travel into the liquid medium. When this secondary waves entered into the liquid medium, they get absorbed. So that is why this secondary waves are traveling into the solid medium. The buildings on the earth's surface moves up and down because of these waves. So you will find little more intensity, little more power with this secondary wave. The power of the earthquake is increasing of the secondary waves. What happens? The buildings are just moving up and down, they are falling up and down, and these are more destructive than the primary waves. Now let's move to the another waves which is called as the surface waves. These surface waves are also called as an L wave, P waves, S waves, and again it is not called as an S wave because the starts from S. It is called as an L waves. So these are the surface waves. Now, what are these surface waves? These are generated after the P and S waves to reach the epicenter. Now, first the primary waves will start from the focus. They will reach the epicenter. Following after that, the secondary waves are going to dash the epicenter. Then the L waves, that is the surface waves, are going to dash the epicenter. Now, how the surface waves are traveling? They travel in the direction of the circumference of the earth along the crust. So they cover the circumference, the area where the focus is there. That particular whole circumference they are covering. They are highly destructive. Now, these surface waves are highly destructive. When they reach to the epicenter, when the magnitude is more, then the surface waves are following, and then they are highly destructive. Trees are uprooted, big buildings falls apart, then there is a loss of life and property. So many things, destructive things are created when this surface waves actually hit, and when it's having more and more magnitude. Now, the more destruction is caused near the epicenter or the epicenter point where actually it is started, and then the intensity goes on less in becoming less. So we'll see the next slide. Now, to understand this movement extent of the magnitude of the waves, the instrument is used which is called as a seismograph. Now this particular diagram is there in your textbook. This instrument is called as a seismograph. Through this instrument, a bar showing the movement of the seismic waves can be generated. You can see here down the bar is given. Okay, the bar is given, it is seen like a line structure, which the magnitude sometimes it goes higher. The P waves are shown, the S waves are shown, and then the L waves are shown. See the P waves little higher than S wave, the magnitude is more than the L waves. So this is the graph which is taken by the instrument which is called as a simple seismograph instrument. And now the modern technology is there, advanced technology is come. This is actually the old way seismograph, but now due to the modern technology, lot of instruments are also there which can give you a better and clear idea of the seismic waves. Now this is regarding seismograph. Now let's move to the activity which is given, experiment of the weight, that is 2.13a and 2.13b, and we are going to see this how it is relating with the waves. Now this particular three activities are there in your textbook. It is relating with the waves, and how they are relating with the waves we'll see. Now, first, hang a heavy bag on a or a pouch on the hook of a spring balance, as you can see here in the 2.13 activity A. In the first part of the slide, a heavy weight or a pouch is tied to a spring balance. Then, in the second part, what is there? Pull the bag down and release it. Observe the spring and note the movement. When you're pulling the bag down, okay, so when you're releasing it, what type of a movement is seen? You will feel that the pouch or the object you have hung to that spring balance, it's going to come forward, backward. So this is what, this is the type of a P wave. How the P wave, the movement is forward, backward. So this is how the activity is related with the P waves. Now let's go to the next activity, and let's see what type of waves it is actually relating with. Now you can see here the two part of the screen. The upper part of the screen, you can see two students are there. They are holding the rope. They are holding the rope from both the side. And in the next part, what you can see is there, they are actually, what they are doing, they are giving a jerk. One student is asked to give a jerk, a little push. So the observe what is happening. The rope, you can see, in the rope you can see the movement like up and down, up and down. So what type of a wave is related with up and down movement? That is an S waves. Okay, S waves or the secondary wave. The movement of S waves is shown in this particular activity. Now we'll go to the next activity. See, always the activities are given to make you better understand. It is not that they are just given only for the diagram purpose. See, here the activity is experiment of Rangoli. Now, what you can see here, spread Rangoli on a large plate, flick on the lower side of the plate. What you have to do is that you have to flick, you have to give a little push on the lower side of the plate slightly with your finger. Now observe what is happening. Now if you observe, you will find the rangoli has spread. It's covering the plate. It has moved up and it's covering the plate in the circumference direction. In the round direction, it is again falling in the round direction. So this is relate with your surface waves which are actually covering the circumference in the round direction. So we have understood the meaning of this particular slides. Now let's go to the next slide. That is the effect of earthquake. Now effect of earthquakes are given in your textbook. The cracks and fractures develop on the ground. Now you can see here the cracks and the fractures have developed on the ground. See the first slide, the cracks have developed on the ground. You can see here on the slide, the crack is developed, the fracture is developed. Now in the second part of the slide, you can see here there is a Landslide. The landslide, because of the landslide, the half part of the road is fallen apart. So, what is the effect of earthquake? The cracks and fractures, then the causing landslide, which leads to the sliding of the rocks. And here in the picture, the sliding of the road. The mud is gone apart and the half road is broken. So, this is also the effect. Now, to understand more effect, we'll see the next slide. See here. Sometimes the groundwater changes its course. For example, the wells may get water or wells may dry up. Now, what is this groundwater? The groundwater is the water which we get from the sources of precipitation. What is precipitation? Any form of the water or a moisture which comes in the down in any form, like rain, rain, then fog, then mist, then the whatever forms are there of getting the water on the ground, it is called as the groundwater. And when it goes into the ground, it is called as groundwater. Now, when this groundwater goes, the springs are created and the wells will get the water. Now, because of this earthquake, what happens sometimes the groundwater change its routes and the wells which are there. For example, in the inside the well, there are the springs of water. Those springs of water may change the direction, and because of that, the wells may get dry. Or sometimes the wells may get more water because the groundwater has changes direction. So this is also the effect of this earthquake. Now, next is what some areas get uplifted while some subside. Now, here we don't have the slide. Now, some areas, what happened, it get uplifted and the continents are created. Then the some areas goes down, which we have seen drift valleys and all. Now, tsunamis are generated in the ocean when it creates when there is an earthquake below the ocean surface. So, what happens? The waves comes out up with an intensity, so that is why the tsunamis are created, and it can create a loss of life and property. Now we'll go to the next slide to see the effect, more effect with the help of slide. Now you can see here, the avalanches. Avalanches means the snow slide. You cannot call it as a simple snow slide, but it is called as an avalanche. We have learned in the natural disaster. When the snow it comes down because of the earthquake, it comes down with the force, and it affect the areas which are down below the mountain of a snow, which are the low lying area. It falls on the people, it falls on the houses. So there is also a loss of life and property. It is called as an avalanche. Then the buildings collapse. You know, this type of situation always occurs. You can get to see how the buildings are collapsing, they are falling apart, and then there is many people die in it, so there is a loss of life and property. Now, if this building material falls on the road, then there is an disturbance in the transportation. That is also the another effect of earthquake. Then the communication system also collapse. Communication system also collapse. You don't get a good range for your mobile phones. You are not able to communicate with each other. So even the communication system, electricity, everything gets collapse because of this earthquake. So these are the effect of earthquake we have seen with the help of slides. Now let's go to another slide. Now we have grabbed actually everything, even a small details which was there in the textbook and outside of the textbook, which related to the first part, that was an earthquake. Now we are moving forward with volcanoes. Now volcanoes are related with earthquakes. These volcanoes are very much related with the earthquake. The process is actually occurring in the interior of the earth. Hot, solid, liquid, and gaseous materials are thrown out. We have seen how the process is occurring in the interior of the earth. The hot, solid, gaseous materials are thrown out, and you can see here how it comes out. It is very hot in the core, so it comes out, and it comes out then there is a ash, there is a water vapor, various type of poisonous and inflammable gases, hot molten magma is thrown out. When this magma is present into the mantle, the liquid, hot liquid, it is called as a magma. But when it is thrown out, it is called as an lava. You must have heard this word lava. So lava in and magma is one and the same. When it is inside, it is called as magma. When it is come out, it is called as an lava. So in this volcano also, there are the two types based on the eruption. What are these two types based on the eruption? First is the central type or the conical volcano, and the second is the fissure volcano. First, we'll see this central type volcano. In this type, the eruption occurs to the one pipe or the one opening or the one vent. You can see here on the slide something is erupting. Okay, all the ash and everything is coming out by the one mouth, one opening. It is called as the vent. So it is called as the central or conical volcano. The shape is seen like a cone, as if from the cone and it is comes out. So it is called as the conical volcano or the central volcano. The lava spread and get accumulated near the mouth and result into the conical shape volcanic mountain. When this lava is coming out, it is falling nearby area and it gives rises to the mountains. Which mountains are there? Mount Fujiyama in Japan and Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania are the examples of this central or conical volcano. Now see the next type of volcano, that is the fissure type volcano. Now what is this fissure type volcano? Fissure means many openings. Now here in this particular thing, the lava doesn't comes out into from the one opening. It comes with a many cracks nearby. In it covers the area and many cracks are forming nearby, and from those many cracks it is erupting. So you can see here in the slide there is a smoke is coming out, the fire is coming out, the magma is coming out, and it is coming out from many cracks. So this is called as the fissures. Okay, so this is called as the fissure volcano. Now, what is the example of this fissure volcano? Now, when the erupted material will come out, it is not going to be thrown at one particular area because it is erupting into the large amount. It is erupting, it is covered the more area. So it is going to throw whatever the solid material, whatever the stones, whatever the lava which is come out, it's going to throw on the large area and it will give rise to a plateau. For example, the Deccan Plateau in India, it's also the example of the fissure type of volcano. Remember, student, Deccan Plateau in India is also the type of fissure type of volcano. Now, we'll go to the next slide. Now, always remember which is there in your page number 17. See that always remember that is also information which is given in that particular thing is very, very important. Now, according to the periodicity of the volcanic eruption, the three types are there. According to how it erupts, according to the period it erupts, the three types of volcanoes are there. First is the active volcano. Here you can see on the slide the volcano is active. Still it is burning, still the ash is coming out, still the fire is coming out. If the volcanoes are regular occurring or erupting, called as an active volcano. For example, Mount Fujiyama in Japan and Mount Stromboli in Mediterranean Sea are the examples of this type of active volcano. So remember students, active means it is active and it is constantly erupting. Then we'll go to the next type of volcano. Now here you can see this is a dormant volcano. When the volcanoes have not erupted for the long time, but may have erupted, may become active suddenly, it's called as a dormant volcano. Now here you can see the ashes coming out. Now for many years it is not erupting, but after few years it is erupting. It is called as a dormant volcano. Mount Vesuvius in Italy, then Mount Katmai in Alaska, and Barren Island in India. Remember, students, Barren Island in India is an example of this type of dormant volcano. Now we see the next type of volcano. This is an extinct volcano. Now, what you can see here in the slide, the greenery has come on this volcano. Why? Because this volcano was erupted long back, and from there it is not erupting still now. So this is called as an extinct volcano. Those not erupted for the long time and are not likely to erupt. They are not going to erupt in the future also. So this particular type of a volcano, it is called as an extinct volcano. Now Mount Kilimanjaro of Tanzania is an example of this type of an extinct volcano. The plates and the boundaries are directly related with the earthquakes and volcanoes. Most of the volcanoes are located on the plate boundary. Similarly, the earthquake zones are also seen on the plate boundaries. The part of the plate's boundaries which slides down on the crust subside. There is a loss of material. Such boundaries are called as plate consuming or subduction boundaries. In the areas where new material is coming up on the crust, it is called as in constructive boundaries. So here you can see these boundaries, the plates, earthquake, and the volcanoes. Now in this particular slide, you can see here, okay, this Eurasian plates are there, many plates are there. Here it is given. See, and what is given here? The earthquake zones are there and the volcano zones are there. Here you can see the Somali plate, then Mount Kilimanjaro there, then you can see here Vesuvius, then you can see here Krakatau, you can see here Fuji. So these all the plates which are there, the plate boundaries which slides under the crust, subdues, and they are plate consuming are called as in subduction boundaries, and plate creating are called as in constructive boundaries. So this particular, it is also given in your textbook, this particular diagram. So let's move to the next part, that is an effect of volcanoes. Effect of volcanoes. I'll just change the slide. Okay, see, you can see here the effect of this volcanoes. The effect of the volcano, loss of life and property. There is a loss of life and property because of the volcanic eruption. The neighboring areas get also experience the tremor, and because of that, there is a loss of life and property. Sometimes the tsunamis are generated due to the volcanic eruption. Below the ocean floor, sometimes the tsunamis are generated due to the volcanic eruption. The dust, smoke, gas, ashes, water vapor, etc. remain in the atmosphere. You can see here the imbalance in the environment which is created. Why this imbalance is created? Because the dust, smoke, ash, gases, water vapor, etc. remains in the atmosphere for the long time. And because of this, it creates an environmental imbalance. The land may become fertile due to the volcanic ash. Sometimes what happened, the land may become fertile due to the volcanic ash, and many minerals are also found due to this volcanic surface, or in the lava some minerals which are there, which is inside the crust, which comes out because of the eruption. Now the new land is formed. The new lands are formed due to the volcanic eruption. For example, the continents are formed, plateaus are formed, mountains are formed, and the lakes are formed at the mouth of the crater of the dead volcanoes, and the rainwater gets accumulates. Now, here in this slide, you can see that is the mouth of the volcano, the crater of the volcano. It is a hole-like structure, which is an extinct volcano, which is not erupted for many years. And that is why when there was a rain, the rainwater got accumulated, and that is how the rainwater can get accumulated in it, and it can give a one water source. So this is also the effect of volcano. Now we'll see the next last part of your lesson, and that is a barren island. Now, where is this barren island? Now, this barren island, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, are located to the Southeast Asia of the mainland of India. You know where is Andaman and you know where is Nicobar. It is located. It is located in the southeast. So, on this archipelago lies an barren island. It is a barren island which lies on it. Only active volcano. Barren Island is having an only active volcano. This volcano was dormant for the long time. It was dormant. It was not erupted for the long time. But in February 2017, it started erupting. In February 2017 means recently, before few years, it started erupting. And then it started erupting, and what came out of it? Mainly dust, smoke, and the mud is coming out of this eruption along with some lava. Some lava is also coming out of it, as well as dust, smoke, mud is coming out of it. So this is called as a barren island, which is the only active volcano in India, which was dormant for many years. Then in 2017, it got erupted. So with this, this was the last part of your textbook of the lesson, and we have actually covered everything of lesson number 2, that is endogenetic movement. So here I have completed with the lesson. So today we have seen all these things. We have started with the sudden movement, and then we have seen the sudden movement, volcanic eruption, and the earthquake is an example. We have done the activity which relates to the trembling. We have seen the interior of the earth. We have seen how the magnitude is counted with the Richter scale, as well as we have seen the causes of the earthquake. What are the different causes of the earthquake? What is the meaning of tectonic plates, and which are these tectonic plates? We have seen the seismic waves with the help of the figure 2.12. We have seen the waves, primary waves are called as P waves, the first to hit on the surface of earth. Following that is the secondary waves, which follows the primary waves with more destruction. And after that comes in surface waves called L waves with lot more destruction. We have seen the instrument to measure the magnitude seismograph. We have seen the activity for relates the waves, three waves. Then we have seen the effect of earthquake, groundwater changes, tsunamis, occurrence, destruction of life, avalanches. Then volcano, we have seen what is volcano, two types of volcano, central and conical volcano, fissure type of volcano. We have seen according to periodicity, how it is divided: active volcano, dormant volcano, and extinct volcano. We have seen the minor and major plates. We have seen the effect of the earthquakes, imbalance in the environment, destruction of life and property, tsunamis created, then the new land that is created on the dormant volcanoes, extinct volcanoes. And we have seen also the example of the active volcano, only active volcano in India, that is in Barren Island. So we have completed with the lesson number 2. Thank you, students. If you're having any queries, you can ask me.